Hello beautiful people. We're gonna dive into my bikini prep journey, and I've never really dove into this in this type of depth, so I'm excited to share, and I'm excited to dive into what memories pop up, because it's been a while since I've talked about this, and I hope you take something away from this. Let's get into it. So I have competed twice in my life. First one was in 2017, so that was 6 years ago, and then I did it again in 2018. So it's been a while. Lots of growth, lots of wisdom and knowledge has happened between this time. Before we dive in, full disclaimer, because what I'm going to talk about actually like a lot of negativity that I went through. Everything that I talk about is not an approach for you to take at all within your nutrition or within your fitness journey. This is not advice. This is just me sharing my story. So please take everything that I say with a grain of salt. Do not apply anything. Do not take this advice, because this is not that. This isn't even advice. Okay, not advice at all. This is just me sharing my experience and what was actually rock bottom for me in my life. And I thought that prep was going to fix everything, and it made everything worse. So please, trigger warning, please be aware of that as you watch this. First question. Someone did say, not gonna judge, but why? I'm going to assume that they were asking why I competed. Again, there was no big why for me. My initial decision was really just because I thought it was going to fix everything. I, for so long, attached my worth to my appearance, to my size, and at the time, okay, this sport transforms constantly. 5-6 years ago, this sport was completely different. Okay, the standards were different, the requirements were different, the types of athletes going into these competitions were different. So my experience was very different than anyone that you might talk to who maybe competed within the last couple of years. But the why was really because, again, I thought it would fix me. I always wanted shredded abs, and I was like, well, if I step on that stage, I need to have shredded abs, and I did. However, that did not fix a damn thing in my life. It just opened up multiple cans of worms for multiple deeper issues. Next question. Someone asked, would I ever do it again? I will never say never, because you just never know, but there is a 1% chance, most likely not, I don't think I would do it. And that's not to shame the sport. I think it's a beautiful sport. I think the discipline and determination that is required to go through something like prep, it's difficult. Okay, not everyone is built for that. And the fact that I went through it twice and I didn't have any direction, which I will get into, is astonishing to me to really think about, because if I was to do that again, I would not survive. I simply wouldn't do it. I wouldn't even be able to step on stage. I wouldn't get that far. So would I do it again? I would say no, because I've worked so hard to just replenish my relationship with myself, with food, with training, and I'm in such a good place right now. Like, I have such peace with everything that involves, my wellness and health journey, and I just don't want to do anything that would ever destroy that again. And prep for me, my personal experience did destroy all of those things. So I would just be fearful and hesitant to go back to that. But again, never say never. And if I was to ever do it again, I would do it with a much better approach. I would have a ton of guidance, and I know that I would be ready to go through prep if I ever did do it again. But because this journey is just so much more wholesome to me, and I don't really have the desire to prove myself to myself in that way or to anyone else, I don't really think I would do it again. But again, you never know. Next question. What made me want to compete at the time? Similar to that first question, like the why. So to be honest, I was at the gym and someone, I think it was a trainer, asked me like, hey, are you competing this weekend with the other girls? And I was like, no. And like, mind you, it's like in my head, I'm like, I am nowhere near bikini prep, bikini comp ready. Like, I'm not anywhere near to step on any type of stage. But he said that, and I was like, damn, maybe I do got it. Fast forward, like this was like maybe in June of 2016. Fast forward to like August, September of 2016. The owner of the gym that I would go to, he gave me just like a sheet of macros, just like a macro breakdown, sources of foods. And he was like, here, do this for the next couple months, do a trial prep, see how it goes. This is the first time I had ever tracked macros in my life. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. And he was like, just do this. You know, if you want to compete, you're gonna have to track macros. These are the types of foods that you're probably gonna be eating. Give it a try, give yourself a trial time and see how it goes. And that again opened a nasty door for me. He was just, you know, trying to help, and I followed that sheet for my entire sophomore year of college. Fast forward to March 2017, because I had gone to Brazil for spring break. I came back the next week and I started prep, and I did it by myself. And the reason why was literally just because I never thought that I had it in me, but for someone to ask me like, are you getting on stage next weekend, kind of just gave me a boost of confidence. Like, you know, I have been training for so long. I have been, you know, it wasn't in a healthy way. I was very obsessed with everything, but the fact that someone looked at me and thought I had the physique for it gave me the confidence to go after it. And I would say that's the why. Okay, a lot of these questions do kind of like relate to each other. Someone asked, did I have a coach or were you self-guided? So I was self-guided for the majority of the time. The owner of the gym, you know, he had given me that packet of just macros, and I follow that to heart, to the T. I think I tracked on holidays and tried to stick to those macros. It was insane. Introduction to macros, and I was so excited, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so good at this. I'm hitting these every day. And I did lose weight during that trial period. I did. And I was really excited about it because I had actually gone through a really bad binge series. I had struggled with binge eating for a while already. You know, that started in high school for me. And after prep too was definitely something that I struggled with. But because I was tracking and I had gained weight from binge eating, and I was tracking and I was losing weight, it sparked an excitement for me. It led to negativity down the road, but at the time I just felt in control again. I had a little bit of guidance, but then when I started prep up until I stepped on stage, 6 weeks prior to me getting on stage is when I had a coach. 6 weeks prior to stepping on stage, I was like, oh shit, I need to know how to pose. And then I started seeing her like once or twice a week in person. Out of 3 months, 6 weeks, I had guidance of a coach. Don't recommend that at all. What was your inspiration to compete? Was it a distraction or a true passion? So this question is really interesting, and I'm actually glad that I got it because it's a mixture of both. I would use the word passion because I was so devoted to my fitness journey. I was so devoted to my health. Was it an unhealthy obsession for a very long time? Absolutely. But I was still passionate about it. I was passionate to continue to grow in the gym, to continue to learn, to continue to expand, to challenge myself. I loved it. But competing, I barely even knew what it took. When I started prep for my first show, I didn't even realize 6 weeks prior to stepping on stage, I was like, oh damn, I need to learn how to pose. Like, this shit matters. There's so much more that goes into this sport than dieting and getting shredded. When I look back, I'm like, damn, I wasn't even training for anything specific. Like, I was just trying to lose weight and get shredded, and that's it. As far as it being a distraction, I mean, again, going back to one of the earlier questions, like, I thought it was gonna fix everything. I thought I was gonna love myself more. I thought because I was working towards a smaller body, I was working towards achieving a lower body fat percentage, that I would love life more, and I was miserable. So it was distraction from what, like, the discipline and the work that I needed to be put in for me to get to where I got was a distraction for me to not think about the loathing and the self-hate that actually sat on the inside. Deep shit. Next, didn't know this about you, love your approach to it from what you shared yesterday. So I had shared it on my story, kind of what I said earlier, like, this was me. You know, is it something that I would do again? Probably not, but I did take away a lot of discipline and determination that the sport requires, which is always admirable. And I admire anyone that actually goes to the sport and does it successfully. My personal coach, Megan Hayes, she's an inspiration to me. She stepped on stage for the first time and took it freaking home, and she earned that shit. She worked for that. That's incredible. I just probably wouldn't dive back into that because it was a completely different experience for me. I'd rather leave that in the past. So what was the hardest part about prep? So I remember crying in the gym multiple times. I was so weak, I was so fatigued. I mean, my food was so low, and I honestly don't even want to share specific numbers because out of fear of anyone, this video reaching anyone and someone taking it and running with it and applying it. But there was a point where I was eating very little and I had to still get to the gym. I had cardio. I was doing 60 minutes of cardio 7 days a week. I was training 5-6 days a week. The food that I was intaking was so low and I was still working at an ice cream shop and being in prep. Not a good mix. The hardest part, I think, was staying disciplined in moments of I wanted to give up so bad. The mental battle that I went through, you know, with myself on like, I shouldn't even be doing this. I don't deserve to step on stage. I'm not worth it. Why am I doing this to myself? You know, all of these negative thoughts would pop up, right? For me, it came down to just knowing that I got this far. So why stop now? There was moments in prep, like I only prepped for 12 weeks. Okay, most people will prep for like 20, 24. I only prepped for 3 months. So when you think about it, it's not that long, but it felt like a year. And there was moments where I did mess up. I would binge, I would overeat. And the next day, just got right back in the gym, did my cardio, did my training, hit my macros. There was a couple days in a row where I binged, and you know, that's when shit really started crumbling for me. But the mental battle of, we did this, we committed to this, I told myself I was stepping on that damn stage and I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna fight for it. Those moments of terror that I wanted to just throw in the towel and give up completely were the hardest moments, and crying in the gym and letting loose, not giving a fuck how many people were around me, that was really tough. I stuck it out and I did it, and I did it twice. Even though there's so many negative memories attached to that, I'm grateful for the experience that I had, for sure. So what was my favorite meal and least favorite meal? Let's start with the least favorite meal. Eating cold tilapia and green beans out of a plastic bag. Why didn't I have Tupperware? I don't know. I remember being in a car driving to like Connecticut or New Jersey or somewhere, and I was eating cold tilapia out of a plastic bag. I will never eat tilapia again in my fucking life, and I mean that. That was so, Jesus. Okay, favorite meal during prep was oatmeal with peanut butter. Are you kidding me? And anyone in prep, anyone that does the sport today probably will say that. Oatmeal with peanut butter and cinnamon. That was like a fucking ice cream sundae at the time. Do any of your clothes still fit from then? Absolutely not. Hell no. I am not that size anymore. Even though, like, if you were to look, like, yes, I was a very small body, I was thinner, but I'm wider. You know, I have more muscle, I have more body to me. So I don't even think I own any of the clothes that I would wear at the time, and definitely don't fit into any of them. Why did I do it? It was never even a thought for me. I remember seeing posters. I remember seeing bikini competitors and admiring their physiques, admiring their bodies. Like, that was my body goal, right? And then again, that day in the gym when someone had asked me if I was stepping on stage, that sparked my confidence to be like, damn, maybe I can do it. And I think the reason I did it the second time is because I wanted to beat the girl that was on stage the first time. I wanted to do it right. And I had a little bit more guidance my second time prepping, because I was working with a coach a little bit more closer. It wasn't like he wasn't taking me step by step all the way through, but he was someone that I had connected with from my first show. He had helped me a lot. I looked up to him, and you know, he would send me videos on, you know, how to pose. I actually was posing from the beginning. I would go to him about nutrition and, you know, talk to him about how my body was responding, and he would give me tips, and I would adjust my meals, I would adjust my macros based off of my biofeedback, and he helped me a lot with that. And my second show was really just to prove to myself that I could do it a little bit better than I did it the first time and have a little bit of guidance. But you know, my second show was not as successful. I stepped on stage very soft. Like, my nutrition was not as great. I binged a lot during prep. And again, when I tell you, if you want to step into the sport, be mentally prepared. More than physically, you gotta be mentally prepared, because it's going to challenge you. You are going to have to sacrifice a lot. I don't want to say I regret it, but because I had to sacrifice so much for this sport during both times that I did it, it absolutely damaged my relationships at the time. My mom, like, my mom didn't talk to me for like 2-3 weeks because of how harmful and hurtful I was just because of my choices. I chose to prep. I chose to step on that stage. I chose to do what it took for me to get there. And I also chose to let that get in the way and intrude on how I treated people, and that I don't like. I took a big lesson away from that, and that was the big oh shit moment after the fact, that I knew I had a really negative relationship with food. It was very restrictive. I needed to do something about it. I needed to fix it, because I didn't want to walk around being nasty to people because of the choices I was making. It was no one's fault. No one told me I had to do that. No one held a gun to my head and said, you have to do this and you have for you to step on stage. I was choosing to do it. I think I was also resentful of myself because I was choosing to do it. And because I said I was gonna do it, I had to do it. I've always been that way. If I'm telling myself I'm gonna do something, I better fucking do it. Otherwise it's going to eat me alive. I've always been that way. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I used to be willing to tear anyone down around me to get to where I wanted to be. And I think I still have that mentality, but not to the extent of where I'm going to bring people down with me. So the why again is like, I did it again because I wanted to be able to be better. But after that, I knew this isn't the route for me. You know, I love training. I love everything that has to do with being in the gym and lifting and working towards a goal and challenging yourself and, you know, going through really uncomfortable phases. There's so much beauty in that. But for me to do it for that sport again, I don't think I would. But I did take away so much from that experience. The last one, how many calories were you eating at your lowest? So I started prep at 1,400 calories both times, which was crazy, which is low. Okay, if any of my clients are watching this, you guys know if you come to us eating that low, we're bumping you up right away. So the fact that I started at that, and I hadn't been tracking prior, I don't know how much I was even eating prior to then just boom, 1,400 calories for the next 3 months. And that's why I binged so hard a lot, because I didn't ease into prep. I didn't ease into dieting. It was just, here's a number, follow it, and it would dwindle down as I went. I would have a low carb day, a moderate carb day, and a high carb day. And let's just say my high carb day was 100 grams of carbs. My low carb day was 0. Ask me how it felt being in the gym on 0 carbs. Death. Again, full disclaimer, like, this is not for you to take with you. This is not for you to, you know, I'm not giving you advice. This is just me sharing my story. And these are just some tidbits. I feel like I could go on and on and on and on and on about this because, you know, even though it happened 5-6 years ago, there's so much in between that I'm not even getting to. And I really just wanted to answer questions, but I'm hoping that this video sparks up some more. And then maybe I'll do another segment. Yeah, here I am now, 5-6 years later, a much healthier version of me, a better version of me, more authentic version of me, and I'm not chasing what isn't me. I'm not chasing anything outside of me. I'm chasing a deeper connection in here. And I'm so grateful for the journey that I broke down in, I lost myself in, but in that same journey, I found my way again. And for that, I am grateful for everything that I've experienced, everything that I've gone through, everything that I've taken away. And I now use that as fuel to inspire other women and my clients. So shout out to the wellness space. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Give me some feedback if you have any more questions, and we will be back.